Welcome everyone to our webinar about navigating AI maturity. I am Bart Kappel, Group AI Evangelist and Helmes, and I want to welcome you today to our knowledge session about AI. Over the past decade, I have worked across organizations in agriculture, logistics, telco, manufacturing, and government, helping them navigate the gap between AI hype, data quality, business value, and AI adoption in general. In my journey, I have seen successful investments of companies who actually made the AI adoption and AI journey, but I've also been part of projects where that hasn't been as successful as possible. In today's session, I will share what I have learned, both of failures and successes, around AI myths, AI maturity, data, organization readiness, and in general, AI maturity. I will share some practical tips, some frameworks, and some examples of how to make your company AI mature. By the end of our 30-minute sessions, you should have a better understanding of what AI is, what AI can do for your business, and how to become AI mature in this current day and age of AI. So without further ado, let's get started, and please enjoy our session. So we might have seen, at least I see, all these very outrageous statements about AI. For example, use my AI, agentic AI-based workflow, and you will have X amount of increase in your sales. Use my LLM-coded assistant, and you don't need developers. While these statements might contain some truth, a lot of it is hyped. AI implementations, even if you are having the same business case, same process as the example, might not be as straightforward to implement. The reality is that AI is transforming businesses, and AI will be an integrated part of your organization going forward. And as a leader, you should adapt. But how? That is once again what I will be explaining during this session. So when you see on your LinkedIn these outrageous statements, after 30 minutes you will be able to assess them for yourself. So how does that look like, right? How do we get an understanding of what AI is and AI maturity? So I have therefore broken down this webinar in the following 4 topics. First, I will be highlighting some of the general AI misconceptions that we have. I have separated them in some general AI misconceptions, and also we'll be looking at more commons that we are facing when we are talking about AI maturity. As implementing AI or being a data-driven company requires adoptions and systems in place that are not per se technically savvy or related to AI itself, I will be also explaining a little bit about the foundations you should lay as a business leader within your organization so that you can successfully adapt AI. Then, the most important thing, what we are discussing at the moment with a lot of our customers and in general as business leaders is, am I AI mature? How does this AI maturity look? And how do I execute the journey? So I will be giving you a high-level overview of what it means and how you can become AI ready and AI mature. And last but not least, I have been doing this for over a decade together with my colleagues at Helmes as well. So based on our experience, we have derived some best practices and tips that I will be sharing as well. So without further ado, let's look at some of the AI misconceptions that are floating around. Either you hear them on the conferences, you hear them at the coffee machine in the business, or sometimes I hear them or read them a lot about in LinkedIn. AI in general is not a new concept. AI has been a study field for over 60 years. However, we are coming to an age where AI becomes more practical and more applicable. And with that comes a lot of uncertainty and myths in that way, simply because of lack of education. One of the concepts that we are fighting, I personally am fighting nowadays, is I have lots of data, put it in my AI so it will improve. Actually, what we are seeing more and more is not so much the volume of data that is important, but more the quality of data. At some point, it doesn't matter if I have a large volume of data, if the quality is low, there is no business value I can derive from it, and therefore it doesn't become very much applicable. So one of the things what we recommend here is take an actual good look at your data and the quality of that and invest into that. This will mitigate a lot of problems further down ahead where you are trying to match the data according to your business processes. Another thing what I see in practice is that X company trained this model, published it for usage. So let's use it into my business because they got 400% increase on some KPI. So I want that too. Unfortunately, the reality is that models are not that plug and play. They degrade over time. We have data drifts. And combining that with the quality of your data, it doesn't per se mean that it's always applicable. In order to mitigate this common myth, we advise to have actually AI governance in place. This helps you to understand what are the strengths of the model, what are the weaknesses. You can monitor that over time and create an adaptive AI-based infrastructure that allows you to scale and adjust your systems over time. And as we work in enterprise, I'm also faced with a lot of questions about, hey, we have this model open source from Hugging Face. Some researchers published this, and I tested it out on my laptop. It works for my specific use case. Let's use it in my company, which has over 1,000 employees. Unfortunately, again, it's not as simple as it might look. A lot of things when people are building models that are not a part of their requirements, especially in research domains or in developer environments, is security, traceability, and enterprise requirements. So often these models, even though they are open source, ready to use, maybe their license permits you to use them commercially, are not immediately applicable in enterprise. The larger you scale, the more you implement AI, the more you will be confronted with governors around it. And as you might hear as well during my presentation, AI governance is central into deploying AI successfully and also mitigates a lot of these common myths by introducing procedures and structure into your deployment. So now that we have an understanding of what AI actually can do a little bit in high level. So it's not plug and play. It's not, I saw this model online and let's use it. But how do I determine AI maturity? So before I dive into AI maturity, let me first highlight the things of what AI maturity is not. So one of the things I hear a lot, my company is AI ready because in sales we are using ChatGPT. We have combined it with Salesforce agentic AI. My developers use GitHub Copilot. My research department use Perplexity AI. So I am an AI ready company. I am very AI mature. However, the follow-up question would be, are these integrated? Are these captured by business processes? Do these teams share information and best practices with each other? And usually we hear no. So that you are using AI tools doesn't make you AI mature. Running a lot of AI tools and AI projects still doesn't per se make you AI mature. It makes you AI curious, which is a good place to be, but it requires some extra steps. Another very common myth that I also hear is, I have this technology stack, we implemented it, so therefore we are AI mature because I can run machine learning training. Again, AI and a successful AI adoption is more than just technology. It's cool to have the model, and yes, you need to have an AI infrastructure that supports you, but the reality for driving successful business adoption also requires you to look into the culture, the company culture, your business strategy, the governance, and actual business processes that are aligned. So the recommendation is to find balance across all of these factors, which I will give you some practical tips and frameworks for later on in this webinar. And one last that I want to highlight, especially in larger organizations, they already are on their path to AI maturity. However, what we see is that as well, they built a central AI team, and that is being made responsible for all the AI transformation across the organization. However, AI is distributed knowledge. And what I mean with that is knowledge is captured into business processes at different stages. Business processes interact with each other. Having a central approach to something that is distributed by nature creates another silo and a potential bottleneck. And that is what we see as well with central AI teams. They lack scalability and therefore hurting your AI adoption. So our recommendations for these myths is governance, structure, and have a better approach into this. But all of that can only happen, and we can only assess our AI maturity and start this AI maturity if we have the business essentials in place. So let's say I'm a company that is producing some goods. I sell it globally, so I have a sales team, I have a product development team, I have a research team, and of course I have production facilities. In order for me to adapt AI and become more data-driven, I need to do some things. So my first contact of bringing AI into my company, I am confronted with a lot of new topics. I need to understand the ROE because it's a business transformation and a business investment. I need to have stakeholders on board, so I am doing the standard business transformation process. However, because this is a new disruptive technology, I also have a whole technological domain that I need to understand, I need to implement. And as you can see on this slide, it can be, or actually not it can be, it is overwhelming, especially when you're in the lower parts of your AI maturity. But it doesn't have to be daunting. The essence of being a successful AI company basically lies into aligning business and technology. So we first start with having a better understanding of what are the business objectives. And these business objectives are AI-centric. So, for example, coming back to my fictitious company, I want to increase my sales. So having a business object as increase my sales is too generic. And that will set you up for failure. So we need to have a better defined, we use smart definitions, but also more targeted to the actual feasibility of what AI can deliver, which is the next factor. So having an understanding of what AI can do from a technical perspective, mapping that to my higher level business objectives gives me an aligned goal. So coming back to my example, if I say I want to increase sales and I have done a feasibility study with AI where I see that in my sales process, it takes 3 months for an order to be validated via my manufacturing capabilities. By applying AI, I could speed that up because it's a research task, so I could automate that. So my new goal for my business should be improve the sales validation process by utilizing generative AI. And this goal and smart definition allows us to have a better boundary-based strategy for implementing AI, giving me a better, actually giving me a better context to succeed. But this is very nice in practice, or actually in theory, and is happening at the strategic level. So how do we implement? In order for implementation, we have identified 3 key organizational paradigms that need to be in place. And how this is implemented, that depends on your organization and on your goal. But we can say that first and foremost, we need to create an AI infrastructure. And as I mentioned, that is more than just having a model, being able to deploy that and being able to interact with that. It is also data governance. As I mentioned before, data is becoming more and more important. We just came out of the whole data grace, where we, for the last 10 to 15 years, have been structuring and saving our data in a better way so that we can utilize it in BI tools or in reporting or now into AI. So while we go further into the future, this will become even more important. So that needs to be captured. Besides data AI, the hard infrastructure, we also need to be able to use it in practical places. So your AI infrastructure should facilitate also horizontal integration. So once we have established this AI infrastructure, which is hard technical services, how do we make sure that our employees or the people that we want to use it actually can start using it? We need to create or foster, if we already have that, a culture of enablement into learning and to adoption. So yes, of course, we have AI teams. We will have teams that are piloting the AI adoption, and they will have facilitations to learn at least their tools. But given that we are on a business transformation and the end goal is to be fully AI driven across all employees, it is advisable to start with AI education as early as possible. What we also see in the market and in our environments from a societal point currently is a lot of uncertainty and hesitation towards AI. People don't per se like to be confronted with uncertainty if they need to deliver. So by having early adoption of education of AI, you will increase the adoption. And last but not least is we need to enable experimentation. There is no best practice or proven workflow that I can implement across all organizations to get you your business value. And that is because your organization has little nuances in their business process that might be captured by data and therefore the AI can learn, but most of the time we need to build in structures into your flow to adapt for that. And that means we need to experiment. If it worked for company A and they have published a beautiful article about it, it doesn't per se work for your company, even though your company is working in the same industry and doing the same things as you. Besides that, workflows change, models change, wishes of organizations change. So these processes, even though they're automated or augmented by AI, will need adaptation over time. And you need to encourage that within your organization to stay adaptive and be competitive. So once we have done that, we have an understanding of what AI can bring us and what it can't bring us. We have enabled our organization to actually start using from AI. How do we select the first use case? Because the first use case is essential. It will promote the adoption of AI within the organization and will set the sentiment around your whole digital transformation. So there are three considerations that we need to take into account. As I mentioned, identifying business needs. This is, I want to stipulate this maybe a little bit better. If you don't align your technical implementation with the right business needs, any AI project will fail. And again, that is not, I need to increase sales. It is more targeted, more boundaried, more defined, aligned with your business, and stay away from industry demos. I see this often enough where companies come and say, hey, my competitor has updated their sales pipeline. They have 20% more revenue. Please do the same. It will not work in that way. Second, organizational capabilities. Yes, developing AI, you can outsource. But adopting, implementing, and using AI across your business for a long period of time, you can't. And that also needs to be aligned with what you currently have within your organization, based on skills, based on certain talents, based on data and infrastructure. If you are doing a project where you can't adjust the direction from a domain perspective by yourself, you are setting yourself up for failure. And last but not least, the maximizing value of AI can only happen when you integrate it horizontally. So coming back to our sales example, we have a sales department, we have a procurement department, or at least procurement validation department, we have a manufacturing department, and we have stock department, for example. All these four departments are needed into my business process of facilitating a sale. So as you can see, if I build an AI that integrates not with all these four departments, I am not able to maximize my value, and I am not able to enhance my business flow. And when we implement AI and we horizontally integrate it, we should focus on enhancement instead of disruption. By focusing on enhancement instead of disruption, we promote usage and adoption. So now that we have all the business understanding, we have implemented the business essentials, we have selected our first use case, and we have started on AI. How do I understand where I am in this AI maturity journey? So let's first start with what an understanding of AI maturity is. We have defined it in 5 stages. So most companies nowadays, giving the AI hype, are in the awareness stage. They have internal discussions about the need of AI. They have some ideas and they are looking into the market, talking with professionals. What can we do? What are our options? Once you have done that understanding and have maybe identified some business processes where you think AI could be applicable, we can move on to the experimentation stage. And this is where we start looking into the organization, we start slowly educating the organization, and we start to identify pilot cases, bring strategy to the table, and start formally defining what are the steps that we need to do in order for us to become AI driven. And this can be either end goal as a whole company, or we can break it down into a more phased approach and introduction, and allowing us to move with the first use case selection into the small adoption phase. So we have run our pilot, and now we need to scale that. again, coming back to our example, I have done the sales augmentation. I have improved my sales process for one particular product. Now I want to scale that across my whole organizations, and that is what we start doing in adoption. Once I have scaled it, I need to change my business structure to implement this process. I need to monitor the process. I need to start deriving KPIs and make it into my everyday daily processes. So that is the fourth stage of AI maturity, and we have operationalized AI. And what that means is every business process that I newly introduce has AI enhancement. Most processes are being AI enhanced, and it's largely adopted across our organization. And the last stage is AI has become part of our normal business, of our normal daily business. Meaning, if I introduce new processes, if I introduce new products, AI is my go-to where I first look into by implementing these processes. I am maybe building my own AI tools. I am innovating AI processes, and data-driven decisions or AI-based decisions are integrated into my decision making. So when I am the highest level of AI maturity, I am not talking about AI anymore. I am talking about these are my optimized and enhanced business processes. But in order to come there, it's a journey. And most companies will actually probably stay in the operational phase of the AI maturity, because a lot of companies don't need to be building AI tooling and an AI modeling. But how do I assess this where I am? So we want to have a path. We want to have a repeatable, iterative assessment. We want to have an understanding, and we want to make plans out of that. Luckily, there are several methodologies into the market, and they help you avoid common pitfalls, so that you don't make mistakes that I mentioned earlier, or you don't fall for the myths that are surrounding AI. These methodologies also help you increase your return of investment because they have a holistic approach onto the AI journey. And as it is a journey, it allows you to have snapshots over time so that you can adjust your strategy. So when looking into these methodologies, we can highlight a certain dimensions. They are all looking at different slices of your business, which are important. Similar to actually our own proprietary framework from that we have created as Helmes, which we actually look into 7 dimensions. So we always start with the first, and I would say important dimension for AI adoption. Is AI adoption part of your company's vision and strategy? Because if it's not, that means it's probably not supported from an executive or from a higher level stakeholders, meaning you will face problems during adoptions. And that can be certain budgetary cuts, certain people allocations, or certain business transformations that you need to do. So having an understanding of where AI fits into the strategy or how AI can be adapted to the strategy is very important. And once we have done that, we also look into the people and skills. Do you have the right people within your company? If not, can we bring it to the table? And what are the implications towards that? Data and infrastructure, as I have mentioned before, without proper data and infrastructure, no AI is possible. And again, we're looking holistically. So we're looking, for example, as well to your data warehousing. A lot of companies don't have proper data warehousing and data governance in place. So it doesn't even make sense to start talking about AI governance and AI strategies. We should start talking about having a proper data strategy, governance, and warehousing in order for us to implement AI. Once we have those essentials from an organization in place, then we can only start looking into AI use cases that are fit for your business. And this is often a technical audit that maps feasibility and business processes, as I mentioned earlier in the alignment phase. So then we need to have an understanding, okay, we have an AI use case, so how can we govern this? Is this AI use case and implementation ethical? Does it apply to our ethical standards and to our country's ethical standard based by law? If not, what do we need to do? And then the last, and very important for continuous value delivered by AI, is monitoring and improvement. As mentioned earlier, AI is not plug and play. It will degrade over time and it will change over time. So these things needs to be evaluated, monitoring needs to be in place, and not only from a technical system perspective, but also business processes, as in what do you do when a model's error rate becomes too high, or what do you do when latency thresholds are met. So these key dimensions are evaluated and an audit is produced by the company. For example, we have AI maturity assessments where we come into the company and we address these key dimensions, and an audit report with strategy and suggestions is created. And that gives you an understanding of where you are on the AI maturity journey. So most organizations at this moment will start off with low AI maturity. So we have analyzed those key dimensions and we have identified that you are not ready yet to fully benefit from AI implementations. And that means we have some groundwork that we need to do. Think, for example, having a better data strategy in place, or having a better understanding of business processes. In the mid-level sections, so that would be you are experimenting, you have some understanding, but you have no skills to scale it, or you have a limited understanding in the monitoring and evaluation. So that gives you a midpoint for midpoint evaluation for you to increase your AI maturity and become highly AI mature. So high AI mature companies, AI is part of their business process, it's part of their strategy, part of their vision, and maybe they are developing their own custom models or retraining industry foundational models to their specific unique use cases. And again, AI maturity is a journey. The frameworks help you assess where you are on this scale. And there are no shortcuts. The transition from low AI maturity to high AI maturity is a path that could take a long time. But it is important to have these steps so that you don't miss and later are confronted with interesting surprises. So, how can we confidently increase our AI maturity? We have derived 3 points that I want to leave you with as tips that we seem very important. So, first and foremost, if AI is not part of your business strategy, it becomes very hard to measure the AI impact. Coming back to our example, if my definition of strategy and AI is I need to increase my sales. It is not targeted enough. I don't have ways to measure if my AI is actually enhancing my skills or hurting my process, and I have no way to monitor as well. So that means the KPIs, the OKRs that I am defining for this business strategy are not well defined. So our tip is make AI integrated part of your KPIs. So the sales KPI for the transformation should be enhance my sales process by reducing the research time using generative AI tools. Um, Another example of what we are discussing a lot in the industry is coding for developers. So instead of saying developers should use coding tools, you can, for example, say, I want my velocity to be increased with X by using AI augmented developer workflow. Once you have done and once you have done that and integrated measurable AI-based KPIs into your business strategy, it becomes more clear for everybody what should be done, ensuring a more successful integration and adoption of AI. But it's not only business strategy. Um, what we are also facing, and this actually plays also for mid-level AI mature companies, meaning they have done the data transition, they have identified some pilot use cases, and then they come to the implementation. What we notice there is that a lot of companies actually don't fully have their business processes documented. And that becomes a problem because, again, if I go to my sales example and we had 4 departments working together in order to capture the sale, we have no ways documented on how these departments hand over their information. We have no structured, we have not captured structurally what the information should contain or what it should look like. We have no basis to automate because I need to tell, in this case, LLMs, for example, the information that they should generate. I need to instruct them the information they should validate. So part of our AI maturity audit and part of the adaptation process should be to identify and document the processes so that everybody understands the boundaries and edge cases can be identified early. Combine that with small scale experimentation, and you are setting yourself up for a successful AI implementation. And the last thing, what I want to give you as a tip, and I would like you to take away with, is do not rush. Do not rush to implementing AI, and definitely do not rush to scaling it up. What we have seen is that once their pilot is successful based on certain parameters, the business wants to use it immediately everywhere. And with scaling, we are seeing more edge cases, we are seeing more resistance, we are seeing more hesitance to adoption. So as in with any business transformation, we need to take this structurally and approach. So yes, it might work for your one sales team or might work for you as an individual. That doesn't per se mean it will work for everybody. And scaling AI solutions across the organization that won't be used anymore in 3 months is hurting your business way more than having a phased scaling adaptation across 6 months, where you have more time and understanding for the implementation. So wrapping that all up, AI maturity is something that has to become part of your business starting from now and continuing that into the future. There is not going to be a future where businesses are not working with AI in any form. It can be that you are not per se having full augmented AI workflows, but you will be working with AI tooling. And preparing your business for that is becoming essential this year and the upcoming 5 years. So I hope that this webinar has given you some understanding and some information about what it is, where to start, and what are the important things. And we as Helmes actually offer these services as consultations. We have our AI maturity consultation, so feel free to reach us out, either reach me out directly on LinkedIn or reach us out on our company information. And as a nice goodie, together with our business lead, Tomasz from Helmes Poland, we are giving away 5 AI maturity consultations for the webinar audience. So please sign up and let us have the conversation about how mature your company actually is, but most of all, how can we make your company AI mature and adapt your company for the new reality and the new AI-driven future we are going to. So once again, thank you for your attention. Have a great day and hope to see you again. Cheers.